Hi, everybody, and welcome to Vanessa, My Life, My Journey. I am your lovely host, Vanessa. I am here today to talk about my burn survivor story. As I shared with you guys the other day, I am a burn victim survivor. I was in a fire when I was 3 or 4 years old, and it was very traumatic. Um, I have scars on my body that scarred me for the rest of my life. I've also been scarred mentally and physically, and it was just a traumatic experiences. It was one of the I have been through a lot in my life, you guys, but being a burn victim survivor was one of the first things that happened to me as a child that was very traumatic, very horrific. And initially, when I first came to YouTube, I came to YouTube to share my stories about things that I've overcome, things that I've survived, to encourage, motivate, and help other people. And somehow, I don't know, I lost my way from that. I deleted the other channels that I initially came to YouTube for, to help myself, to help others. And I'm gonna get back to that. Gonna start my stories all the way over from the beginning. This is a journey for me, an emotional journey, a healing journey. And I'm just thinking, you guys, there are so many of you guys out there that have been through similar things that I've been through, some who have been through more than what I've been through, worse than what I've been through. And for people like myself, sometimes we don't have the courage to. There are people every day that struggle with things. They don't have the courage to continue to go forward. They get into depression and just so many things, you guys. And I know that we deserve better than the cards that we've been dealt. And that's nothing that we could do about it. But I want to encourage you, the person who have been through a lot, the person who still may have to go through a lot, to not give up, to stay strong. So you guys, my burn survivor story starts when I was a little girl. It was cold. My dad and my mom were visiting my grandmother here in Houston. They weren't at their own house. They still lived in Houston. My grandmother lived in Houston, but they were at her house, I think for the holidays, if I'm not mistaken. I remember it was cold outside. I remember it may have had some snow on the ground. We don't get that much snow in Texas, so what we consider to be snow is like frost on the ground. And I remember it was freezing cold. And we were at my grandmother's house. My dad's mom, and my dad's mom is a very, 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 very good cook. And the things that I remember that led to me becoming a burn victim survivor and setting myself afire was, we were at my grandmother's house. It was late at night in the evening, after dark, and my dad and my mom had a very volatile relationship. And my dad was an alcoholic. My dad was violent. My mother was a teenage mother. My dad and my mama. I am the oldest. I am my mother and father's first child. So this happened to me when I was like 3 or 4. So that meant that my mother only had 2 children. It was me and my baby sister. And you guys, I'm sorry I keep stopping and pausing, but I'm thinking because there is so much that I internalize now that I'm older, and there's so much I want to say in relations to my story, that if you're a female, you're a woman, and you're in a relationship with a man, whether it's your husband, your boyfriend, your fiance, or whoever, and you've had a violent relationship with him, he's been beating you, you've been threatened, the longer you stay, the more you jeopardize your life, the more you jeopardize the life of your children. The more children you continue to have for that person, you're not making the situation any better for the future children than you have for the children that you have. I would say that I was my mother's only child. All of her children are pretty much 2 years apart. So if my dad was violent towards my mother, she knew that, and she didn't leave. She stayed. She had 3 children for him, and the longer she stayed, the longer she hurt herself and the more she hurt us. And I do believe that her staying with him, almost everything that happened to me in my life is a product of her being in relationships that she shouldn't have been in. And of course I count that to her being young, dumb, and stupid. But this particular night was one of many when my mom and my dad was arguing and fussing. So my mom and dad is at his mother's house, and they get into an argument, and it's a bad argument. And my grandmother has a little house. They have a heater in every room to warm the house. And if you're not in a room, then you don't light a heater for that room. So my dad and my mom get into an argument. My grandmother only have a 2-bedroom house. My grandmother is getting ready to go to bed in her room. She wanted me and my baby sister to come sleep with her, I guess. But I don't know what reason I didn't want to go sleep with my grandmother. And my dad and mom get into an argument. They're supposed to be sleeping together in the other room, but they get into an argument, and my dad goes to bed in the other room. My mom don't want to sleep in the bed with him. He don't want to not sleep in the bed. He don't want to go into the other room, in the living room where it's going to be cold at. So he gonna sleep in the bed, and I guess try to force her to come in the room with him by saying, I'm gonna sleep in the bed, I'm not gonna. And she didn't want to sleep in the bed with him, so she went to the living room to sleep on the sofa, and my grandmother went and lit the heater in the other room. And my dad was drunk, and I think because he was drunk, he probably wasn't cold. And because I was close to my daddy, or I really loved my dad as a child, even though he was an alcoholic and he was mean, I really loved my dad. And so I was in the room with my dad, and he didn't like the heater. And I tried to wake him up and tell him to light the heater. He wouldn't light the heater. I went to the room where my mom was, and I was asking her to come light the heater. and she was telling me to go tell my dad to light the heater, and I was just going back and forth between my dad and my mom to get them to light the heater. And eventually I tried to go to sleep in the bed with my dad, and we were asleep or trying to go to sleep, and I was freezing cold, you guys. I was a little girl and I was cold. And because I had went back and forth to my dad and my mom to try to get them to light the heater, nobody would light the heater. I got up, being a grown person that I thought I was, and I rolled up some paper like I seen them do it. I rolled up some paper and I tried to light the heater. And next thing you know, I was on fire. I was on fire. I was in the room with my dad, and I was hollering and screaming and trying to wake him up, and he would not wake up. And my mom was in the living room. So right here, there's a bedroom, and right here, there's the kitchen, and right in front of the kitchen, there is the living room. So I'm in the bedroom with my dad, lit the heater, tried to light the heater, set myself afire, trying to wake him up. He won't wake up. So I try to make it to the kitchen, and I'm in the kitchen, and I'm a ball of fire, you guys. Like the nightgown that I had on and everything just like caught a fire. It was very flammable. So I'm a ball of fire, and I am hollering and screaming, and I'm trying to make it to the living room where my mom is. And I'm just running around and all of this and screaming and hollering, and nobody will wake up. And my grandmother is all the way in the back room, and she kept hearing something, and she opened up her door, and when she opened up her door, she seen this big, and I'm going by how my grandmother and everybody explained it to me. My grandmother said all she seen was a ball of fire. She didn't know what was on fire. She said I was totally covered by the fire. She couldn't see anything. And she said she kept getting closer and closer to the fire, and she heard me screaming. And she said all she did was, my grandmother just started to pat the fire out with her hands. And she was hollering and screaming, and she was trying to get my mom and dad up, and they wouldn't wake up. And finally, my mom came over, and she was trying to pull my grandmother away from the fire because she didn't know that I was on fire. And my grandmother kept trying to get back to the fire, and she was like, "That's Vanessa, that's Vanessa." And then my mama was like, oh my God, and just started screaming and hollering. And they came up with the bright idea to take me to the bathtub. And they took me to the bathtub, turned on the water, and they started putting the fire out and patting the fire out with the water. And now I'm screaming and hollering because they're actually taking the clothes that are on fire and patting it down to my body. And now the clothes are stuck to me. And then they called the ambulance. The ambulance came, took me to the hospital. And I was in the hospital for 3 months with 3rd-degree burns on my body. And when they took me to the hospital, they couldn't immediately operate on me because the clothes was stuck to my body. And so every day I had to go to therapy, and the therapy was they would put me in a whirlpool, and I would go round and around in the whirlpool, and the whirlpool and the water in the whirlpool was ripping away the clothes on my body, because the clothes was sealed into my skin, and every day they would put me in the whirlpool, and the clothes would be ripped away off of my body. And it took a long process for that to happen. They couldn't even start treating my burns until they got the clothes off of my burns. And I remember being so scared. When I was in the hospital, because I was only 3 or 4 years old, but I didn't really understand what happened to me, because when I was set afire and I went to the hospital, and every day I would have to go to therapy, all I remember was that I was at the hospital by myself. Like, I don't know where my mom was. I don't know where my dad was. All I remember was every day I would go to therapy. I would sit up in my hospital room every day, and my mom would come and see me whenever she wanted to come and see me, but she would leave. Like, she didn't stay at the hospital with me. She didn't stay by my side. I just don't remember nobody staying at the hospital with me, taking care of me, talking to me, reassuring me that everything was going to be all right, explaining to me as a child what happened to me. All I remember was the people at the hospital. All I remember was the nurses taking care of me. And they would laugh because I guess I was I guess I was a trooper and a strong child, even at a young age, because I remember, like, when my mom would come there and the nurses would be telling her what I would do. And like, I loved fruits and vegetables, you guys, even at a young age. And I remember they would bring me apples and fruits and vegetables. And I had so many fruits and apples and oranges and stuff. I would take the apples. I remember this, you guys. I would take the apples and I would take one bite out of the apple and put it in the drawer. I would take one bite out the apple and put it in the drawer, and then I'd get another apple and I'd take a bite out the apple and put it in the drawer. And when they opened up the drawer and they seen all of these apples in the drawer that was bitten, and they was like, why are you biting all the apples and just taking one bite out of it instead of eating the whole thing? And I was like, oh, I got too many apples. So, somebody was playing music, you guys. I had to turn the video off. But the biggest thing that I remember and that I took away from me being a burn victim survivor. I think I was 4 years old. Uh, uh, was I felt really, really, really alone. I had things running through my mind as a child about where my mother was, where my father was. I felt abandoned. And after I got out of the hospital, I just think I never felt loved as a child. And I felt like I was always treated differently. I think I felt like I was hated by my mother because I reminded her of my dad, and probably because I was really close to him and I loved him, and he was mean to her and he beat her. And then when I grew up with these scars on my body, I think I start believing the way that people treated me. I think I started believing that they treated me that way because I was ugly. I started believing that nobody could love me because of these ugly scars that was on my body. And I grew up being very shy. I was withdrawing. And because of other things that had happened to me in my life, I didn't trust people. I kind of didn't like people. Like, I would run from men. I would never be alone in a room with a man by myself. And if I wore shorts where people could see, I have a skin graft on my leg where people usually always thought it was a burn, but it actually wasn't a burn. It was a skin graft. And I would get teased because of the skin graft. I would get teased because of infantitis on my legs. And because I grew up witnessing domestic violence and abuse from my father, and just where we grew up and we raised y'all, like, there was a lot of violence in my family, a lot of alcoholism, a lot of drug abuse, a lot of generational curses, and a lot of adults that were not responsible adults, and even incest. Too much for a young child to witness their whole life and not come out damaged. And the burns on my body caused me psychological trauma that I inflicted on myself because I never got any help. Nobody taught me to have self-confidence. Nobody taught me self-value, self-worth. And I just grew up feeling like I was less than other people because I didn't think I was pretty. I didn't think I was cute. I couldn't do things that other kids could do, like when we would go to the neighborhood swimming pool. I never wore swimsuits. I always wore shorts and a long t-shirt. I never wore shorts on a daily basis. Like when it was summertime, I didn't wear shorts. I always had on long pants. And when I would think that I could wear shorts, and I would, people would tease me. They would make fun of my legs. They would make fun of the scars on my legs. They would make fun of my skin graft. They thought it was a burn. And I took all of that and internalized it, and I didn't love myself. I didn't know what love was because there was no one in my life that was showing me love that I knew as love. I didn't love myself. I didn't know what love is. And I didn't think I was cute. I didn't think I was pretty. I didn't think I was worthy. I thought that the reason why everybody in my family mistreated me and abused me was because of the burns on my body, because I was just an ugly person. And when you believe that about yourself and you carry yourself in a way where you're scared of people, you don't want to be around people, there are bad and evil people in this world who prey on the innocent. They look for children to target. They look for the weak child. They look for the child that other people are mistreating. And because I had that low self-esteem about myself, I also was targeted by a sexual predator who sexually assaulted me as a child as well. And all of that I don't even know what to say, you guys. That was too much. We put too much pressure on children. We put too much responsibility on children. We put too much garbage on children. We take our garbage as adults and put it on children. The things that we as females and mothers accept in our lives, we throw that garbage on our children. And if you have neglected your child in a way that things have happened to them that you don't believe would have happened to them had you been more attentive, maybe you're holding a guilt trip on yourself. But by you holding that guilt trip on yourself and alienating your child, yourself from your child, you're still doing an injustice and a disservice to them, because, like, I don't know what my mother felt by me being caught a fire at 3 or 4 years old. I don't know what she felt. I don't know how she might have held that against. My SD card was full. I'm looking a hot mess. I know it. I don't know why my mother wasn't there for me. I don't know why she didn't stay at the hospital with me. I don't know why I don't have memories of her nurturing me and loving me and helping build self-esteem in me. I don't know what regrets she have about things that she allowed to happen to me as a child, because I'm going to talk about this in a video, you guys. I know you guys say that because of what things that I share with you, that my mother didn't love me, and I don't know what my mother's perspective of her motherhood and her parenthood was. She was a young mother. I think she probably thinks she did the best that she could. And I think in some shape, form, or fashion, she might not take accountability for what role she played in things that happened to us as children, because she won't put herself in a position to be confronted by it. So I can't answer for my mother. I won't answer for my mother. And I don't try to paint my mother out to be a bad person. I am just here to share my life experiences. And I realize in doing that, it will make other people look bad. But I had to come to a conclusion for myself that when the way that I grew up, the low self-esteem that I had, the tragic things that happened to me, the mental state that I was in, the wanting to take my life since I was 12 years old, I no longer wanted to be here. And when I finally came to the conclusion in 2007 that I was fighting for my life and I was alone, I had to stop worrying about what impact my story would have on other people. I do have relatives that I don't know how to put this, but I'm just gonna say that I have relatives that may feel a certain kind of way about my story, that they would not want to be associated with me because of my story. And I think because of people in my family all my life, I held in my hurts and pains because I was afraid of hurting them. I was protecting them, but no one was protecting me. And I came to the conclusion that I have to seek healing for myself. And it's sad to say, but I don't care. I don't care. I don't care about me telling my story. I don't care what anybody would think about that. And if my mother my brothers, my sister, my cousins, my aunts, if anybody would have a problem with me telling my story, I don't care. And so I do have relatives that will probably see this video, and I love them. I love you, but my story is my story, and if no one wants to publicly acknowledge that they're related to me, if no one wants to publicly help me get healing, I'm okay with that. And you might need to realize for yourself, if you're a person that's been hurt and you have things that you've been struggling with for yourself, you have to let go of the attachment that you have to family, because you're healing and your family is separate. It's your story. And some family members are never, ever gonna be willing to come to grips. That could be a mother or father. That could even be the person that wronged you. They may not never be willing to come to grips. They might not never be willing to acknowledge the truth. They might not never be willing to say, I did this and I did that wrong. They may not never be willing to assist you in finding closure, in finding healing, and in finding peace. But you have to do it for yourself. My mother has never sat down with me and allowed me to tell her my story from my perspective and from things that have happened to me that she may be not willing to admit that happened to me. The role that she played in it and all of that. I'm here to say I'm a burn victim survivor. I was set afire. I set myself afire when I was 3 or 4 years old trying to light a heater. I have scars on my body that have scarred me mentally, and the scars are there physically. And they have impacted my life in every aspect of my life, in every relationship that I've ever had. My scars have played a role in it. I held my scars against me. I judged myself for my scars. I missed out on things in life that I would have liked to have experienced because of my scars. And I've allowed people to treat me less than because of my scars, because I believed what they said about me. I believed when little kids would make fun of my scars and tell me my legs was ugly or I was ugly. I believed them. I believed grown men when I was a little girl, and if they would get a glimpse of the scar on my legs, I would believe them when they would say, you can never wear a bathing suit. You can never wear a two-piece because you got scars on your body and it's ugly. I believed those things that were told to me as a child. And I let them impact my life as a child and as an adult. And I believed the things that the people said. And those things were so hurtful. And I know some people wonder why you do these videos, but why are you reliving this pain? I have to, because I have to let grown people know. I have to let mothers know. I have to let fathers know the things that you do, how they impact those little girls and those little boys, and how strong your words are that you say, and how impactful your actions of not being there for your children. If you're not positively influencing your children, the words of others, that those negative seeds that others plant in that child's life will take hold, will take root, and they will grow. So if you are being an absent parent, don't think that you won't be held accountable for the things that happen to your child, because it was your responsibility. It was my mother's responsibility. It was my father's responsibility. It was my aunts and my uncles' responsibility to teach me to love myself. It was their responsibility to tell me that these burns on your body don't make you. It was their responsibility to tell me that you're beautiful. It was their responsibility to give me the self-esteem that I needed. It was my mother's responsibility to tell me you could wear shorts, you could wear a dress, you could wear a skirt, you could wear a swimsuit, you could wear anything that you want to wear. It was her responsibility to teach me confidence, to love myself. It was her responsibility to love me unconditionally as a child, and to be there for me. So my videos, you guys, have several purposes. My videos are to show you guys that no matter what you've been through, no matter what you're still going through, no matter the emotional and physical damage that it has caused you, you can make it through. You might have to get rid of some people to do it, and it's nothing wrong with that. And my videos are also so to show people that bully people, that tease people, that those things that you do are wrong. Those things that you do are wrong, and God are going to hold you accountable for that. And my videos are also to the parents. Like, so much of what happened to me in my life was because of my parents. Like, to the ladies out there, whether you're young, dumb, or stupid, or old, or whatever you accept from a man, you're not just putting yourself through it, you're putting your children through it too. And men, when you choose to be violent, when you choose to be an alcoholic, when you choose to be a deadbeat dad, you're not just doing it to yourself, you're doing it to your children. You're putting them in harm's way, you're scarring them. You're not there as a father, you're not there to protect your children. You're not there to teach them anything, because you're a deadbeat dad. And my message is also to the people like me who have been through a lot in life, and you've allowed what people have done to you, what people have said to you, you've believed it, and you've also done an injustice to yourself. You don't value yourself, you don't love yourself, you don't have self-worth. You've tried to take your life. Like, you have to do this for you. You have to do this for you. And just like I'm doing this for me, but so many of you are saying I'm helping you, you have to do this for you. You have to do this for your future. You have to do this for your health, your happiness, your wealth, your peace of mind, and your future children, or the children that you have. You have to do this for you. You have to find a way to muster up the strength to do this for you. And in you doing this for you, you're going to help someone else. You're going to help yourself. You're going to help your family members. You're going to help your loved ones. And you're going to help someone else out there like you. And I'm going to share this with you guys in a future video. But the reason why I'm alive today is not for myself. The reason why I'm alive today is not because I want to be here. It's for you. My purpose, my plan. The reason why I take another breath is for you. It's because there's a little girl out there somewhere whose mother is not gonna love her. There's a little girl out there somewhere whose mother is not gonna comb her hair, who's not gonna tell her she's beautiful, who's not gonna teach her self-esteem, who's not gonna teach her how to be a lady, who's not going to teach her how not to become a victim to men. There is a mother out there who is not gonna tell her daughter not to accept domestic violence and abuse. There is a mother out there who is going to abandon her children. There is a mother out there who's going to care more about herself than the lives that she brings into the world. And I'm here to speak to the wounded. I'm here to speak to the brokenhearted. I'm here to speak to those who have been mistreated, abused, physically, mentally, sexually. And I'm here to let you know that even if your mother doesn't love you the way that a mother should love her children, even if a father did not love you the way that a father should love his children, I'm here to let you know that there is someone that loves you more than your mother could love you, than your father could love you, than you could even love yourself. I'm here to let you know today that your life is worth living with or without scars. Your life is worth living with or without pain. Your life is worth living with or without a mother. Your life is worth living with or without a husband. Your life is worth living with or without kids. Your life is worth living with or without a husband or a wife. You are precious in the sight of God, and He loves you. And He has allowed you to be here up until this point. He has allowed no weapon in your life that was formed against you. It might have hurt you, but it didn't destroy you. And He has allowed you to take another breath today for a reason. And even if you're tired, because I get tired, and even though it seems like I have all the answers, I don't. This is a daily struggle, but because I believe in God, and because I know that I am only here because of Him, and because I know that He has a purpose for me, I cannot give up, and I cannot give in. So I am here today to share with you guys my burn victim survivor story. I am a burn victim survivor. I do have third-degree burns on my body that a lot of people in my regular life do not even know that I was a burn victim survivor, because I don't have burns on my face. I don't have burns on my arms. I don't have burns on my legs. I don't have burns anywhere on my body visibly that people could see unless I choose to show them. And I want to let you guys know that even that is a miraculous miracle and a blessing by God, because according to the stories of my grandmother and my mother, my body was totally 100% covered in flames. My grandmother did not even know that it was me on fire when she found me. And my grandmother started patting the fire out. Even though my grandmother is not living anymore, she had burns on the top of her hand from where she had put the fire out on me. And even at the age of, I think I was 4 years old, the devil was trying to take my life. And the devil was using the war, the fight, the hate, and the animosity against my mother and father to destroy their own children. I have several messages in this video today. One, don't stay in a violent relationship. Don't subject your children to it. Leave. If he hits you once, he's going to hit you twice. Number two, to men, be a man. Be a man. Don't be an alcoholic, spending your money on alcohol, acting crazy. If you do love your wife or your children, learn how to show that. Whatever demons you dealt with, you're an adult. Don't bring children into the world that you're not ready to love and take care of. Number two, to the victim, don't hold the things that have happened to you in your life against yourself. Don't let other people label you. Don't let other people put you inside of a box that God didn't put you in. And don't let the things that happen to you keep you from experiencing life and doing whatever it is you want to do. If you want to walk outside in a bikini and show the world your burns and let them see it, if they don't like what they see, let them walk away. I just want to thank you guys for tuning in today. If this message has been encouraging to you, if this message has been motivational to you, if this message has blessed you in any shape, form, or fashion, please leave it in the comments bar below. Your comments encourage me, motivate me, and let me know that what I'm doing, God had me doing it for a reason. Even though some people might think I'm doing it for myself, I'm not. So when you let me know that what I've done here today blessed you, you help me realize the purpose and the plan. I'm sorry. You help me realize the purpose and the plan that God has for what I'm doing. I'm gonna let you guys go. Like I said, don't forget to leave comments down below. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. Don't forget to press the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and hit always. And please share this video. I know somebody in one of my other videos commented and asked me, could they share it on their Facebook? Could they share it on their social medias? Could they share with other people? And you guys, the answer to that question is yes, please, please, please. Please share this video with anyone, with everyone, with anybody. Any mother that you know is neglecting her children and abusing her children, any adult or child that you know that is going through something, been through something, have low self-esteem, have tried to take their lives, please share my channel with them, you guys. God wants lives to be saved. God doesn't want anyone to take their life, and my voice is a voice that is crying in the wind to save lives. And so if you share my video with anybody, I feel like it's helping to save lives. And that's the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I don't want anybody to be like me and try to take their life and keep trying until they end up being successful. I don't want. They might be successful the first time. There is so many people out there that are hopeless. And I just want to give a glimmer of hope. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys. Again, thumbs up the video. And I will talk to you guys later. Bye now. Thanks for watching. And if I made you cry today, I'm not sorry, because God told me that my tears will heal many, save many. And if my tears are helping you to find healing and to find peace, then I'm going to tell you the same thing I told God. Turn my tears on like a water fountain. If I could help save somebody, I don't mind, you guys. I make myself vulnerable to you guys to try to help myself and you. Okay, bye now. Thanks.